We are Steven and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. Steve and Jill here.
hi.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Steven Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
And I'm sitting in sunny Central Scottsdale, Arizona. Today, Jill and I talk about self-close versus escrow close. Actually, a couple days ago, Jill, we hit on this a little bit, because of that title company question that I think Thomas asked. But we'll, you know what? Let's take a question before we actually talk about it by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free.
Eraldo wrote, hey guys, before I joined Land Academy, I had a signed agreement to buy an infill lot. Before I knew about Land Academy pricing, I was buying it for $12,500 and selling it at full market value for $30,000. So here's the seller's story. Gloria is the owner/seller. The county shows her name, mailing address, and she's made a few payments of taxes. Oh my goodness. She's 30 years behind, but making payments on that. Okay. Since she didn't even know that she still owned it. That's
These are usually
hilarious.
good things, by the way.
The story went on that her mom bought it back in around 1969, 1972, and then put it in Gloria's name, who was about 8 or 10. Nothing showed up. So the county says the documents before 1989 would need a physical search. Called the county and they searched and found nothing. Previously, they searched, the first search was like in the 80s, wasn't right. This search, they did it again. They couldn't tell me how they put the property in her name. Isn't this shocking? It's like our records show it's owned by her, but we don't know how it got there. That's the craziest thing. She's getting the tax bills and she's been paying the current ones, but not the very, very old back ones.
Jeez.
I gave them Gloria's mom's name and her maiden name, father's name, brother's name, just in case, and still nothing. The title examiner at the title insurance company couldn't find anything online or physically at the courthouse. So this is a first for me. I'm at a loss. What do you think can be done?
Jill,
What do you think, Stephen?
I'd run away.
That's what I was going to say. It's like the time, even typing this question to me and to us and the online community, you know, it tells me he's got, okay, let's just say, if we're lucky, 5 hours into it, maybe more like 10 hours into it. I'm like shocked at this point. I don't know what to say other than I kind of would move on. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned about somebody taking it back.
In the beginning, that he didn't price it right. So there's when situations happen like this once in a while. That's if you're brand new at this. I'm trying to give you the real how it really works in the real world. Once in a while, something like this happens. Most of the time, experience just say that it's too. But once in a while, you get a property where it's like, you know what? I can buy this thing for $5,000 and it's worth $500,000 if I solve these problems. That is in a situation where you figure it out. It might be even worth you to go to the courthouse. But if you've got a title examiner, title examiners, if you've ever been in a county building, there's this usually a big type of conference room, and there's 20 people sitting at the conference table. None of them work for the same company. One works for First American, one works for mom and pop title company, and they're all having a blast. They're laughing with each other and drinking coffee and asking each other questions and working together. Those people are title examiners, and they know that county. They live there. So if they're sitting there in the county building, they know where all the books are, the pages, and if they can't find anything, it's over. No lawyer's going to find it. Those are the people that know everything, and it sounds like this is over to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I was going to add, here's the thing too. an infill lot, right, is usually something that someone's going to build on. So there's no way to get around this. You need to go this path. I mean, we could buy it without title insurance, and kind of catch up all the taxes, but I personally wouldn't do that because then the other note I was going to state was I personally think that really the only way to undo this would be get an attorney involved, and they're going to have to probably, I'm sure there's a legal way, Stephen, to kind of formally post in the
Yeah,
newspaper.
quiet title. It's an
Right.
whatever the adverse possession rules are for this location, that's what's required. That's going to take about 6 to 8 months on average, and it's going to cost, just budget $5,000 total.
Right.
That's why I'm
So
saying there's people that walk around this country. Some of them have been or are in our group that this is what they do.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You're solving a huge problem for this person.
I agree. I met
Today's
a
top.
guy the other
Oh,
day
go
on the
ahead.
phone. I remember that. I met a guy the other day that said this exact thing, what you just described, and it shocked the heck out of me that was his business model, but it is. So,
Yep. And it's a good one. For some reason, the people who focus on this are in Colorado. That's been my recollection anyway. But you can do it anywhere. And I think it's the adverse possession slash the rules there. Today's topic: self-close versus escrow close. This is the meat of the show. Once again, Jill and I choose these topics based on the number of times they're asked on Land Academy's customer service department. They tell us, yeah, we got 22 questions on self-close versus escrow close. So this is why we're talking about it. You want to describe both, Jill, since you're the expert between the two of us?
oh, thanks. Why am I the expert?
I don't know. You're the expert at everything.
Oh, thanks a lot. When do you get a topic this week?
Data.
Is there one coming up this week that's your
Let's
show?
see.
Just out of curiosity. It's okay.
The next tomorrow is aha moment in every acquisition, which we both can talk about because that's extremely important.
Yeah. Okay.
And on Friday, it's selling land fast and efficiently. Efficiently. No, it's pretty much your week this week.
Thanks. Well, if you just want to catch a cup of coffee real quick, then Stephen, and kick your feet up, go right ahead. There you
Way
go.
behind you. I mean, way in
Yeah.
front of you. No, behind you, really, but go ahead.
Perfect. Okay. Self-close and escrow close. I'll describe what they are, and then you ask me questions, please. Self-close is when you are buying a property without title. Well, you traditionally without title insurance, and you're doing a self-close. What this means is you're making your own deed, you're lining up your own notary, you're collecting, you're writing out your own payment, figure out your own payment, collecting your own cashier's check, usually what we do. You're setting up a notary to go directly to the seller. The notary's going to get the deed signed, hand in the payment, send the notarized deed back to you. You're going to send it in to the county yourself for recording. It's going to come back to you and be done. Now the property's in your name. That's it. The escrow close is calling a larger company or even just calling a formal escrow / title agent and having them do the legwork of the deed, getting it signed. You give them the money. They make sure the money gets to the seller. They get it recorded and in your name. Done. And usually most title companies will not do a close without title. So you're going to have to brace yourself, and you're going to pay a couple extra $100 or 1,000 depending on the property to get title insurance to go with the transaction, which is basically just researching. They want to make sure, hey, if I'm facilitating this for you, I want to make sure he really is the person that can sell it, kind of thing. It's doing their due diligence for themselves, kind of thing. What questions do you have, Jack?
Let me make a car analogy.
Okay.
If I buy a car out of Craigslist or OfferUp, and it's a used car, and I go to the guy's house and decide that I want to buy it, he has a title, and he signs a title. In California, you can just sign it. There's no notary. In Arizona, it has to be notarized. So I usually go to a bank or have somebody show up. And then I would go to the DMV or maybe one of those like AAA type places that have a license with their licensed providers for the DMV. And we would record it. We would get it recorded with the Department of Motor Vehicles. If I was Jill and I wanted to spend $100,000 on a sports car, I would go to a dealership and there's somebody back there that magically just gets everything done. And then they ask you to sign some stuff and you sign it and it's over. That's the difference between self-close and title close.
Why am I the one that's buying the sports car? Last time I checked, if we add up all of the cars in my history and your history, pretty sure you'd beat me and you would absolutely surpass me by a lot financially.
So self-close, you can do all the work yourself and it costs nothing more than the cost of getting the notary to the person's house, the seller's house, and the fees to record it. So notary costs maybe between $100 and $200, depending on where you are. And recording the deed probably costs $25 to $35, maybe $45 max, maybe less in some rural counties. So you're talking about $250 to close a deal. That's on the top end, self-close.
Right.
Title escrow is closer to $2,500. You get title insurance though. So the next person, the whole point of title insurance is, yeah, we looked at it. We all the stuff we checked, we are going to insure the title against XYZ. And if there's problems in the future, you can make a claim on it. Like just like auto insurance or health insurance. Sometimes you need, vast majority of the times you don't use it. When you need it, it's there.
Okay.
And so anybody who's going to develop the property, you got to do an escrow title escrow close. And I use those terms interchangeably. I say title or escrow close. I say escrow close or title close. They're all the same thing. Exactly. Can you buy, Jill? Can you call a title company and just say, you know what? I don't believe in title insurance. I just want to use the escrow services because I don't know how to exchange the money.
Legally, but no, they won't do it because that's where their bulk of their money comes from. I think
that's the answer. They hate it.
Yeah.
You know, they make money. They're an insurance company that provides this escrow service, and they charge a little for it. They're selling insurance policies, just like, you know, any life insurance company or anything else. So this is not the topic for the show. There's a lot of controversy in title insurance, whether it's actually usable, you can file a claim. Any of the claims that I've ever tried to file with and I've only had a few in my life, ended up pointless, and you know.
Same here. I've got one right now that we're just talking about, but I'm like, okay, wow. At what point do you just walk away?
But do we do it? Do we buy the vast majority of the properties we buy now, if not all of them? I would say 95%, 98%. We use escrow and title.
You know, that's an interesting point. I think for two reasons. One is it just makes people feel better. It's kind of silly, but okay. So this is a good question. Why would you do one over the other? Ready? Here's
Price.
why.
Oh, I
but
thought you were
even
asking
then,
me, sorry.
But that doesn't even matter because so here's the question. Let me follow you. Ask you another question. Steven, can you buy a $500,000 property and close the deal yourself?
Yes.
Thank you.
Would you ever do that? No, you would never do that.
I wouldn't.
The person you sell it to is going to say, what kind of malarkey business is this here? What are you trying to pull? So go ahead.
That's the only reason, which is it doesn't make any sense, but it's just a perception. And like you said, I love it. You and I could talk for hours at how the many flaws that are in title insurance. And if you're ever really bored one day, sit down and read one and see what's covered and what's not covered, and your head will explode. Maybe you shouldn't read it because your head will explode when you realize basically what they're insuring is everything that they found. If they miss something, they're not insuring it. So I argue, what's the point of insurance then? I don't understand. You know, they're insuring that that guy spelled his name right. And even then you got to fight for it kind of thing. It's hilarious.
They're
So
called Schedule B exceptions. So if you read a title policy, a title insurance policy, not the preliminary, but the whole thing, they will, all the stuff that they're specifically not insuring is in the Schedule B exceptions. The first one on every deal we do is access, physical and legal access. On its own, I can live with that because that's kind of our responsibility anyway. They don't insure very specifically. The next one is they don't insure any claims that anyone that hasn't been on the recorded chain of title, or any clouds, they don't insure against that because they couldn't find it or didn't go. Well, that's insure yourself against the unknown or the unpredictable. So they truly have, from a marketing standpoint, Escrow and Title have you buy the private parts when it comes to this stuff. You have to use them.
it's interesting. So a lot of it is like you said. So why are we even talking about what's the point? For me, I just want to, and I'll end on this. It's perception.
It's perception.
And depending what your end user is going to do with the property, it's needed. They're going to build on it. They're going to want that. And there's times it just, again, it comes back to perception. It makes the property look more valuable. I celebrate it. Hey, I bought it with title insurance. Here's a copy of the policy. We put this, and people can go, okay, and that's it. So don't think about it. Don't stress about it. Don't try to make sense of it. It's I think it's here to stay.
Yeah.
But now you know what the two things are. And if you're in a pinch, because I still do this to this day, if you're in a pinch and you got to lock in a deal, maybe you have a really great deal, especially now we're coming up on the end of the year and there's a lot of people that say, God, I got to get this off my books in 2020. I can't have it in 2021. And I will accept your price of X if you can get this done. I would, and I still do, close and then get title insurance after the fact. So I want you to be smart. You're so smart. If you are listening to this and you know this,
Yeah.
that this is a possibility, you're going to get more deals out of it too.
That's only for really advanced people who know what they're doing.
Right. Happy you could join us today. 5 days a week, you can find us right here on the Land Academy Show.
Tomorrow, the episode on the Land Academy Show is called The Aha Moment That Every Acquisition Should Have. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
I like shows like this. I think that there's a lot of there's a lot of confusion. And so when we can just say, this is what this is, and this is what that is, and here's why, and here's why, and everybody goes, got it. Like, I think this episode is going to be really popular, and I would myself listen to it a couple times and know, okay, I got it.
If you can't stand topics like this as a listener, all you really want to do is just analyze data, choose markets, price it correctly, and send the mailer out. You don't want to do the deal at all. Call us. That's what deal funding's for. You don't ever have to learn this if you don't want to.
Land Academy Deal. Today's episode brought to you by Land Academy Deal Funding.
Perfect.
I love it. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you find our content valuable, and we really appreciate your support. If you haven't already, please zip on over to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the kind of content that you're here for. Hitting the like button on your favorite episodes helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.
We are Steve and Jill. Information and inspiration to buy undervalued property.